Hello, everyone. Good evening. Welcome back for Detox tonight. Happy Tuesday. Okay, Sue. Hope you're doing well. Alberto. We've got a live guest over in the private studio doing the Detox tonight in the heat. That's always nice. Hi, Nayeli. Ari. Welcome back, bud. I know you were saying you were trying to do some of the detoxes. Many people have asked about you, and they've asked for your address, which I don't know, nor would I give out, but they wanted to send you things, and of course, send their love. And I kind of gave them the update the last time I heard from you on the email. So, sounds like quite a road having COVID, and I hope that it can heal, and that your body can find its way through, anything that was torn down along the way during the process. And I hope tonight can be a continuation of that healing for you. Era, good evening. I'm assuming if there's anything going on with the mic, you guys would let me know. You, of course, are welcome to put on a detox playlist if you would like to have some music in the background. We have just about 1 minute. Hi, Roz. And then we'll get started with our practice. Or should we just say, there really is no beginning and end when it's the yoga life practice. It's one continuous practice on our mat, off our mat. And wow, do we appreciate these opportunities to be on our mat. I'm sure there's a lot of humility along the way, but I hope you're on the up and up, and I hope that anything you have that you can share, that you would want to share with the community, having experienced COVID firsthand. We are definitely open to receiving that whenever you're ready. There's obviously no rush, and we don't expect anything from you, as you're the one that's going through it. But I'm sure the wisdom and the knowledge, that any of us gain when something is happening firsthand. But it may be taking some time to process, I'm sure. And of course, your body, remember, the body wants to be healthy. The body has all the tools, um, in the replication of cells, and puts things back together. So overall, the body wants to be healthy, but, I've had this silly poison oak, and you understand very quickly when something is pulling at the body, it draws all the attention of your mind. So in your case, with the lungs, shortness of breath, and I'm sure many other symptoms that you experience, there's just no getting out of that moment. And so many times we've used our minds to get out of moments that may not be comfortable. And when something is happening, or just as much as a bellyache, let alone COVID, you realize that you're not thinking clearly because your mind is constantly being pulled to that sensation. So be gentle with yourself, and we will, try to fill this practice up as we have been, and support the health and the foundation of health for you and for everybody in taking these classes and beyond. Hey, cousin. All right, so let's lie down on your back, please. And if you'd like anything underneath your head, you can support yourself with a pillow. I've got my meditation cushion back tonight. And so you're welcome to place anything under your head and get situated with your legs long and your arms by your sides. Now, it may feel nice to even tuck your thumbs just underneath the outer hips and give your outer hips the awareness of the hands, and so that they'll release a little bit further. And it's kind of creating somewhat of a bowl and for your glutes to set into. I don't know about you all, but I think grounding, we've been teaching and talking about grounding within ourselves, is very important right now. Who knows how much and where you're entertaining your information from, but we put it all into the bucket when we're practicing called external influence. There's just two buckets. There's external influence, and that's anything outside of you in the form of information, anything that you can receive. Even me talking to you right now is external influence. And then the other side is the inward movement. The most physical thing we have to and dissect those two, and so that you have an understanding, so that there's a boundary with your mind, is your skin. So anything outside of your skin, external influence. Anything inside of your skin is the inward movement. It'd be nice if we could exponentially invite people to the inward movement and say, hey, you don't really have to do anything. Join me for an inward movement. Right? If they're leery of a class or a yoga class, right? It's simply inward movement. And there's not much to be done. But when you get inside, there's a whole lot of things, and that we can unravel, we can untie, and we can break down, we can build up. But we've got to be able to make that switch and determination from attachment to the external influence and the awareness of the inward movement. And consider how long throughout each day, and just take a pie, like a chart, not a pie that you eat, and put a percentage on the amount of the day and that you spend entertaining things outside of yourself, interacting with work or people at work, relationships, friendships, and to-dos, moving around, percentage that you spend attached externally versus the percentage that you spend internally. The truth is, 1 hour, if you do one class a day, it's great. Class a day is great, but that's 1 hour. Internal versus external, of 24. That's a pretty small sliver of the pie. Throw on a 15-minute meditation. So challenging to sit still and meditate for 15 minutes. So now you've got 1 hour and 15 minutes. 22 hours and 45 minutes. External. You add in your sleep. 6 to 8 hours every 24-hour period. And you're still not even meeting a fraction of the whole pie. And that's subconscious. So we're talking about conscious internal and versus conscious external. And so I'd say if we're going to sway or shift the pendulum within ourselves and how we're living our lives and what we're doing in our lives and how we're feeling our way through our lives, then we should probably spend a bit more of that time internal versus external. If you got the hands tucked, let's slide the hands out from under your bum. If you have something under your head, please remove that. Slide it away from you and let your head come all the way down onto the ground. And bend your legs so that your feet are flat. And you can take part of your stack, your block, your meditation cushion, whatever you got, blanket, and then tuck it underneath the back of your hips. And so the back of your hips are elevated. Bring your left ankle onto your right thigh for a figure four. Okay, in this case, it's nice to have something a little cushy, like a blanket. A block will do. It's going to drive another layer of sensitivity on the sacrum. If you got something cushy, then your low back can kind of melt into it, and then reach your left hand through, interlace the fingers on the back of your right leg. And so the meditation cushion, the bolster, the blanket is tilting your pelvis and taking parts of this pose as you normally experiencing it out, and so that you can concentrate more on that left leg in the figure four and any tightness around your bum and your glute. With this, the shoulders can be heavy. If you need to make any settling adjustments or lift the head, reset the head, go ahead and do that now. And relax the face, and I invite you to close the eyes. And sometimes when you close the eyes, the body cries. There's hurt. There's judgment. And there's reflection. Not always easy to meet the conflict or the contradiction within yourself, but this is how we grow. This is how we learn from the most valuable resource that exists on this planet, and that's our inner self, our most inner self. And when we get deep, our inner selves actually begin to merge, and that's the theory of oneness. I'm not sure if this exists yet. Probably does. An animation movie where the basis is the theory of oneness. It's something made for 6-year-olds. But all based on kind of this theme of every single person going deeper inside of themselves. But as you go into yourself, you encounter all of these layers. And so there's travel, and there's time, and there's adventure. And so you could see how all of that would play out in the animation. And the characters, and the trips, and the journeys, and the ups and the downs. But as you keep going deeper, and we get closer to that oneness. And so some people, they don't even scratch the surface. Other people keep going deeper. And the question is, how deep do you need to go? Well, nobody knows. But then that's the exciting part. When you get there, you will realize that you're there. Yoga. If you're holding on to any strength in your legs and your ankles and your toes, please relax all that. You feel grounded, settled, and even calm. say it was a fairly energized or even stressful day, feel the shift to calm and the nourishment that comes with being on your mat, receiving a message, applying a practice in where space and can be part of your reality and time you can release. And feel the heaviness in your back, the weight in your shoulders, and at the same time a softness in your belly and around your face and through your throat. About 10 more breaths here. And you're welcome to keep your eyes closed as you begin to release your grip. And take your right foot and then your left foot back down onto the mat. You know, keep your right leg bent so your foot is on the floor, but you can release your left leg long. And feel what you feel as you set your left heel down, leg straight. And allow the belly to expand. And from that position, your left hip. Take a deeper breath in. And begin to slide your left foot back onto the mat. Cross your right ankle to your left thigh. If you need any adjustments on your stack, whether that's a block, blanket, or a pillow, make those adjustments and then reach your right hand through. Interlace the fingers on the back of your left leg. So let your stack and support the tilt of your pelvis. Shoulders relatively square, and your grip is knuckles through knuckles, so you're not having to hold on with strength. You're getting more traction through your wrist, actually, and your elbows and your shoulders. And once the grip is locked in, and holds on the back of your left leg. Keep the weight in the shoulders and stay and observe 10 more natural breaths. Slow as you begin to soften your grip. Bring your left foot back down onto the mat. And then uncross your right leg and let it go long. We're still on the stack. And release the right leg. Feel the rebound. Begin to bend your right leg, slide the foot back onto the ground. Press into your feet, lift your hips so that you can slide whatever you have as a stack. Slide it out, and then middle back, lower back, into your tailbone, let your hips come down. And both of your legs go straight, reach your arms over your head. Close your eyes, you can yawn, stretch the entire body. Bend your legs and scoot your bum over to the right side of your mat. And you roll onto your left side. And you're welcome to set your stack just underneath your armpit. Rest on your elbow and put your left hand on the side of your head. If not, you can do this on the ground. It can just feel nice to do it and with your stack and a pillow underneath your side body. Take your right hand down. Curl the fingers around from the outside to the inside of your right ankle. Let your head rest into your hand. And then your right hand connected to your right foot. You're not pushing or pulling. It happens to be floating out there, but eventually it'll probably settle all the way down into your left leg. So don't force it. You feel your breath here where the sensations may rise. And just let your head settle. You got a nice way of cupping the side of your head with your left hand. And say you happen to come out of it or your right hand came off your ankle. You can always extend the arm by using a towel and holding both ends of the towel once it's around your ankle. If it's really tight, you're feeling it pretty well, stay where you are. If not, let your left arm go straight and then let your head come down over your left shoulder. And so you've taken the kickstand away from the head, and now it must then surrender or fight with gravity. Think about that. And gravity being the most renewable resource that we know of, keeps us on the ground. He interprets the ability for the body to balance as a mass in space. And remember, even when you have hands connected to parts of your body in detox, you're not pushing or pulling. And continue to relax here. And see how far you can drop in for the last minute. It's a good one for many parts of the body, but especially if you've got the head heavy into the right side of your neck and the scalene muscles. You begin to lift your head back up. Take your left hand under your head, kickstand. And then you can slowly start to release your right ankle. Both of your legs straight, right leg stacked on top or just behind your left leg. And take a breath or two here. And then you can use your right hand, come around onto your belly. If you had something underneath the left side of your ribs, you can just pull that out, slide it forward. And as you make your way to your belly, take your right arm out into a T. Keep your legs out behind you and turn your right cheek. And down onto the mat, please. Feel the release in your glutes, your inner thighs. Definitely through the middle of your belly. And let your head get heavy. And gravity through your mind, through your head, through your brain. It's so relaxing when you surrender into the grounding and presence of gravity, physically, mentally, and emotionally. Bring your left hand back underneath your shoulder and slide your right hand back in. And turn up onto your right elbow, onto your outer right hip. And if you want your stack or your pillow, bring it back and put it underneath the right side of your rib cage. And right elbow is going to set. You got a headrest. You can set your legs to stack or your left leg just behind your right leg. And so we always talk about opening up and stretching the muscles called the intercostal muscles in between your ribs. But rarely do we put something underneath them and then deactivate them. Think about it. These are accessory muscles to the inhalation. Everything you're feeling thus far, accessory muscles of the inhalation, which means every time you breathe in, these muscles, they have to do something. And so if breathing is the key to life, not what you do or not what car you drive, breathing is the key to life, literally. And we should probably do whatever we can to make sure that we're supporting the function of our respiratory system. It's not lost on any of us that what the world is dealing with is a respiratory disease, an infection, a virus that attacks the respiratory system. Everything we do, everything we use, every yoga class, and that we're in. And you're welcome to release over in that stack. And let your head come down. And take your left arm rested along your side. If you need a little bit more, you could always take the hand behind your back. Remember, there's no rules to the exact setup. And find and feel into a place in your body and where you get it. And then settle, head in that direction of stillness. And curl that left foot in, connect the hand to the ankle if you haven't already. And then you'll probably feel it a little bit more into your scalene muscles in the side of your neck. And so those were just ways that if you needed to back it off, if it's just too much and you're like, why am I stressing out about holding my ankle? Then You do that previous version where the arm is by your side. You're still getting it. Go ahead and gently start to bring your head back up and bring your right hand under for the kickstand. And then you can begin to release your left ankle. If not already, and bring your left hand around onto the ground to your elbow. If you're on that stack underneath your side body, slide it forward. Make any adjustments back onto your mat. Take your left arm out into the T. And then please turn your left cheek down onto the ground. Come back slowly, turn your chin, slide your left elbow in, bring your right elbow in. Elbows in closer than your shoulders, and so that you're not putting weight into your shoulders. And it props your chest up. You can separate your knees or your feet a little bit wider if you'd like to. And then let your chin soften down towards your chest. You focus on the feeling of your pubic bone on the mat. Notice if your glutes are tense or tightening, and relax your bum. Let the weight of the pubic bone land into the mat. Feel anything in your low back, into your hips, into your inner thighs. You realize you may have never focused on and letting the weight of gravity go through your pubic bone, so that could be a new sensation. And there might be a lot of residual sensations going across your low back. You all know that achiness is welcome. Right? We don't want to be sitting in sharpshooting that you would identify as discomfort and achiness. Let's go through those layers over and over and over again. Now here's an interesting exercise. Your eyes are probably closed most of the time when you're doing detox. When your eyes are closed and you removed the visual external influence, there's probably more of a darkness with your eyes closed, whether it's bright outside or not, afternoon or evening. Eyes closed, it looks darker. But with your eyes closed, can you see the light, like flickers of light? If you do this when it is daytime, you'll be able to find your pupil. You might even be able to see that now. And with your eyes closed, you can find that dark spot of your pupil, and then it's a cool kind of trippy experience, and to watch it move around. So your eyes are actually moving involuntarily, so even when your eyes are closed. Anyway, something to explore. It's been a while, about one more minute. We've been so concentrated on the pubic bone into your mat, into the floor. You might feel some emotion drawing out. And Stacy was asking me if I ever tell you guys when I fall asleep in the poses. I'm like, I'm pretty sure they know because I snore. Where you hear that grunt or odd sound. Sometimes you fade so far into that state of relaxation, it just like pops you into sleep for a second, and you're there, and then you're kind of back and in between. It's the coolest place to sit in these postures. So far, I haven't totally knocked out on you guys, but I've heard that's happened to some of you. It's okay. You start to bring your eyes softly into the space. Use your hands, begin to make your way up to all fours. And then you can crawl on all fours, bring your knees closer towards the top of your mat. Separate your knees so they're mat width distance apart. No rush, sit back in between your heels. If that's tight, you can certainly sit on your stack, a block, pillow, blanket. And then you may want to have something behind you. We're going to recline. If it's already tight, then just stay on your hands. But if you put your stack behind you, eventually you might end up laying down on it and go double stack. You can be creative. So I go meditation cushion and then yoga block. And then from my hands and down onto the elbows and the back onto the stack. Right? And this is really because I just don't want to stress the body out. I want to feel in the openness, in a place where you can be supported. So, the opportunity to be intuitive and creative with your stack, please explore that. It may take you a few more minutes if you're like, ooh, I haven't done this one in a while. And here's the thing about the human body. Most of us have 10 toes, 2 feet, and 2 ankles, 2 knees, 2 hips, spine, a pelvis, shoulder girdle. Most of us have all those parts. And every one of us is going to be in a variation of the pose. If we did all of these side by side, none of us are going to look exactly the same. We'll go back to the beginning of our practice. So how much energy have you spent looking outside of yourself, comparing yourself to other people, whatever that means, versus, really changing the paradigm of our society and our culture and going inside want to develop the app instead of Instagram. What's the app where we go inside and then provide that visualization out to one another? That'd be cool. If you've gone pretty deep here in your surrender versus your fight, use a little bit of your belly to support your low back. Your head is going to feel pretty heavy at this point. So belly in. Grab for your ankles, use your elbows, use your hands. It's probably not going to look pretty as you make your way back up. Go slow. And you shift your knees around, swing your feet out to one side. And then let's go ahead and bring the legs out in front of you. Remove that stack from behind you, please. And then you can go ahead and rest all the way down onto your back tonight. And if you want anything to cover your eyes or a blanket to cover your entire body, then you're welcome to bring that along with you. Ooh, open yourself up as wide as you'd like. Arms out, heels can be wider than mat width. Big toes out. And we ought to feel this expanded center of peace, oneness. If there's one beautiful constant that I've experienced and through the practice of yoga, it's humility. Humility is such a wonderful gift and a very wise teacher. And so let's see if from this point, as your practice settles in, world kind of opens up, and from its narrow in perspective, perhaps when you started this practice and to where you are now. And see if the steps that you take forward can be humble steps that are more considerate and more aware of all beings, not just the ones that you prefer to interact with or participate, but all beings. All beings. I want to thank you all so much for sharing your practice tonight. And I was just taking a look here because I saw that Nayeli was sending out the energy in relief and for what happened in Beirut, and I hadn't heard what had happened, so I was just looking that up, and I mean, absolutely terrifying just to see the headline, and yet consider what people have gone through and during an experience like an explosion. So I don't know really much about it, but I would like to take whatever piece that we've generated with this practice humbly and send it out more specifically to those beings and to anyone that has been affected directly and indirectly, right, when there's a tragic event like this. So please continue to hold space in your hearts. We have a lot of healing, in this waking life. Healing should be a part of every breath that we take, a moment to reflect, a moment to heal. And not just perpetually getting up and doing more. And so I hope you feel some of that space and sending out all the love and as much peace as we possibly can. And thank you all so much for your practice. You're welcome to stay here as long as you'd like. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Have a nice rest, everyone. Namaste.